Today's video is going to be very simple. This is set and I want to make an enclosure for it. Now we have a bunch of wood sitting over there. So for all 5 of you that are going to watch this video and like woodworking, I've taken my measurements and the first thing we are going to do is make a base frame. This is going to be it for the base frame, which means the Ratrig is going to sit on the other side. We have some bracing structures in the middle because we want to use some leftover sheets. We are having some finer sheets that we are going to use to fill up the inside. I also want to see the inside with the oak finish. One cool thing we could see is that 3D printing is not only fun for your tinkeries, we can also use it as woodworking tools. So you have seen that I used this tool to make center of this piece of wood. This is a nice piece of wood. Then we have a dinky little plastic printed toy like this. You tilt it, we have a stop right over here. We have another stop right over here. And then you have a hole to put in your pencil. And then when you slide it down, keep in contact with this side and this side, you are making a center marking over the complete piece of wood. Super cool. It is not expensive. I have a few for some different sizes, so cool tool to put your center on some wood. Now, we also want to make this thing behind me mobile. We are going to use some wheels. So these blocks right over here are points so we can screw something in because we have 4 mounting points. This is going to be the wheel that we are going to use for the complete Ratrig. The Ratrig alone is already pretty heavy. This thing, once finished with all the paneling, is also going to be pretty heavy, so I have found these wheels. These wheels are going to be super great if you want to move stuff around, but not only that, if you also want to lock it on the floor. Right over here we have a ratcheting mechanism, and if you do this enough, you will see this little bump stop is getting out of there. So this is going to make contact with the floor, and then you can level the printer out so it is nice and sturdy. Like you can see right now, the wheel will not be in contact with the floor. So this is super cool. It is a ratcheting mechanism. You also have those ones that you need to turn. Now the ratcheting mechanism, you can turn it around, flipping this little switch. And now the rubber stop over here is going to drop down back again. So the wheels are making contact with the floor and you can move around the project again. And now you can drive the freaking thing around wherever you want. So this is a cool nifty thing. These are pretty expensive, but I will link them down below if you are interested in this feat. Now, using these feet is very simple. You just bolt them to the frame that you have. These are more for your metal cabinets. Now we are using wood. You could use a wood screw. Now, from experience, I have noticed the table saw that we are using right over there, all the wheels got loose with those self-tapping screws. So this little piece is going to enable us to use bolts instead of wood screws. You drill in a hole, you can see the threads are all over here. You turn it in using a hex head on the inside, and after that you can mount this wheel on this thing just using a bolt. We are having a lot more contact area on this thing, so this thing is going to avoid that this wheel is going to turn loose. We have to tighten it every now and then. Doing that a few times, you will strip the wooden thread. So we are going to use these inserts. And for that, we made this little block right here in the corner, because if we put this thing right over here, you can see we have to bolt in a thread right over there. When they are dry, we are going to drill the holes and mount these casters. And with that, all the wheels are on. It's time to put it on the floor because this part is finished. Alright, that seems to be working. This is going to be the bottom plate for the Ratrig V-core 4, and as you can see, this is nothing special. In contrary, this is awful. You can see the cut marks. Those cut marks, believe it or not, are from the outside kitchen we also made a video about. You can watch it right over there. Now I'm going to glue this thing onto the base frame, and after that we are going to put some sheathing on there, and that sheathing is going to look like a nice piece of oak. Then we are going to slap something on the front so it matches with each other, and then it's time for the paneling on the outside. This is a PU foaming or a urethane foaming wood glue. It's a construction glue, which means you can use it for more than wood, but this is weatherproof. It has a foaming effect, which fills all the voids, which is nice, because my woodworking, believe it or not, is not straight. It never has been, never will be probably. You don't want the paneling touching this piece. We can finish it off with some caulk, but right now I just want to stay inside the frame before we put any veneer on it. Alright, this looks great. A nail gun, use a stainless steel. It prevents the marking on your wood. If you're not using stainless steel, you will see that your wood will start to get black because of the rusting it is going to do. For this probably stainless steel is a bit overkill, but hey, there is stainless steel in this thing, so I'm going to use it. Right here in the middle, this is old wood. It's a little bit bowed out, so I'm going to grab this. Then we are going to clamp it on each side, pressing it down. So when the glue dries, this wood is not leaving the support structure right here in the middle. I want this to be as flat as possible before we apply the veneer. And just like that, the top plate is on. Now it's time to let it dry. This is going to take overnight, so this is it for today. I see you tomorrow. It seems that everything is going to fit, and an added bonus, this right here is going to be big enough to house another printer. Now I'm going to fill it with filament probably, but if I want to, I could put the GD+4, for instance, right in there, making some more space in the shop. It's also a very nice height to look at the printer. So the thing is going to be that we can roll it around. I want to make a cover in plexiglass or probably polycarbonate that I can pull out with the magnets Ratrig delivered. I'm going to do the outside paneling. That is probably going to be the hardest thing to do. I have no clue what I'm going to do. I guess we'll see. All right, so the first thing we are going to cut is some old history. If you don't know what it is going to be from the original housing that the Sidewinder X1 was sitting. You can still see the hole right over here where the push buttons were. Well, the hole is going to be a wee little problem. Probably need to fill it up, but we are going to cover it anyway, this plate. So yeah, so this is going to be the back of the printer. I took some measurements and now it's time to try and make something out of this that is actually usable. This is going to be the biggest issue of a small workshop. It is going to be handling massive plates like this in a small space. It is dangerous if you're not knowing what you're doing, but it is still doable. All right, we have the first piece. We still need to trim it like this. I will probably have to do that by hand because, yeah, I'm not going to cut a big plate like that in the width side. All right, I'm going to do that, and then it's time for the side panels. This is going to be the full build height of the chamber, but we have one problem. We have the housing of the Ratrig sticking out. So right now I'm going to trace it, but we need to prop it up because there has to be a veneer under the feet There isn't right now, so I'm going to take some sacrificial material to bump it up. Then I'm going to trace the back of the wood, and then we are going to cut a hole in this so we can slide the printer through that hole. I got all the blocks. These are all 5mm or higher. This is going to compensate for the layer that we are going to add on the bottom, so we can raise up the printer, then we trace the outside of that Ratrig housing, that we are not undercut, because that would be not so good. All right, let's continue the build. And here we have it. This is going to be the hole that the printer is going to sit in. If I didn't do a too terrible job of measuring the left to right. Alright, the first panel is in. The plug right over here, we are going to move it because it is not going to fit right over here. So we are going to scoot it a little bit more back. There is some room in this printer, so yeah. We have to make a new hole in the housing. Not a big deal, it's just more work. So these are also one of those fancy 3D printed thingies that you can download from the interwebs. And it is going to be for corner camping like this. Now this corner is nice and straight. I don't have to worry about it. It is clamped down with a bolt right over here with the nut in there, and then you have the sliding action of this. So this is also something 3D printed. It seems stupid, but for stuff like this it is super handy. We know this plate and this plate are aligning pretty good. I'm going to turn in some wood screws just to keep it in place before we do the final glue up. I also need to do the other side, the top side, so those are the things that I'm going to do right now. The easy part is done. The wood paneling that is going to be cheap and just structural is on. Now it's time to get the nice wood on, so the oak veneer. Well, I am not the best woodworker and I have already made a little mistake. So here I made a little mistake. I had to add another 3mm because the measurement I took was not accounting for the blade that was cutting away material. So this is going to be the extra bit of blade we have cut away, but now it is nice and close. We have some nails shooting out. I will remove these when the glue is dry, but right now I think I'm ready to go to the veneer wood. Most of the paneling is on, the side paneling is on, back panel. The only thing we have to do is the top panel. Everything is glued up. I didn't film most of the cutting because it was super janky and I don't want to give you any ideas. But we chamfered all the edges. It's a little bit rough, but I think we can fix it. Hopefully. The paneling we bought, we forgot to account for the extra width of the second panel, so we are 1 centimeter short. Unlucky, but I'm going to put a strip in here. It is going to be looking all pretty nice. We have some tricks to try and manipulate the wood. I'm not too worried about that. Like you can see, the 45, we have a little bit of a gap. There are also some tricks that we can do to fix it. Like you can see, there is a bit of a gap right over here. I am not too worried. Now, the only thing that I want to do right now before I call quits for today is going to be the top panel. It is also going to be a two-piecer, and that's going to be it, and I see you tomorrow. Everything is dry, we can remove the clamps and we can start to fill the voids we could see on the back with this thing. This is going to be wood putty. It is some kind of a plastic based filler material. We push it in some empty voids, and after that with a little bit of sanding we get the look of real wood, which is going to be the magic to hide away all the mistakes we made along the way. Alright, I'm gonna remove the clamps, apply this with a glove because this is very nasty stuff. Also, another thing I can say is that we will need to do a very proper deep cleaning of the shed. We will have to open doors and blow everything off because everything is covered in fine dustwood, and this is not great if you're 3D printing. It is super cool to have everything at one place. I can do woodworking, I have 3D printing, I can basically do everything at one place. The negatives about it is that everything is at the same place. So if I'm making dust, everything is covered in dust. If I would do something stinky, everything is going to be stinky. So yeah, those are the troubles of your small workshops. By the camera, you would think this is super big in here. It's about 40 square meters. And that is the outside volume. That's not accounting for the walls, the shelving we have going on the back, and the little sauna that is in the corner. So we are probably doing with 70% of that. And then we have all the benches, all the tables. So that is also going to take away a lot of the volume. So yeah, it is getting very crowded in the shop. I think we are reaching the limit of what we can do. I really would love to do something with CNC. I would like to be able to CNC some aluminum. I have seen something super cool in the United States. But getting it in here is going to be expensive. Getting it in here is also going to be slightly concerning because we are running out of room. All right, enough rambling. Let's apply the stuff. Like you can see, everything has nicely dried up. We are left with a beige residue that we now need to sand off. So we are going to do some mechanical sanding. We are going to use this DeWalt orbital machine. There are a few settings on it. We are going to use a very light sandpaper, not the one that is on here right now, because this is a little bit too aggressive. To give you another close-up look on what it looks, this is looking awful, but I have a very good feeling that this will look a lot better when I'm done with sanding. Done about a half hour of sanding, and I think it's about 80% perfect. We're going to do some touch-ups with this stuff again. But first, let's look what the result is right now. So this is one of the seams. I'm going to do a wee bit of sanding, but first I'm going to touch up all the rest. So this is looking very nice. This right here is going to be the worst corner. We can see that we have some splitting going on right over here. So we are going to refill it. This is just from the material shrinking. There was too much material in here. So I think one more application should fix that seam. Same for here. We also have a little bit of cracking going on, but the corner is nice and sharp. Just so I think a little re-application of the thing will fix most of it, but this is going to be very promising. This is going to be the bottom side, which has a lot less filler in it, and this is looking like $1,000,000. So right now I am not too worried about the result. I think it looks pretty decent for a first application. Let's do the second one, and while it is drying, we need to make smaller holes bigger. We just filled some holes, and now we are going to route this out. We have a template on the inside from the first plate we applied, and for that we need another tool. This is obviously a router from the brand DeWalt. I'm a bit of a DeWalt fanboy, if you haven't noticed. Everything is from DeWalt, and the biggest reason I have purchased DeWalt for all of my shop infrastructure is going to be this freaking thing. I just absolutely love it. These tools are all, fairly inexpensive, I would say, except for the table saw and for the for that thing over there. those are going to be pricey. I came from a Makita, but I just think that DeWalt offers the tools that are really needed, like that orbital sander on batteries. So next up, we have a little bit right up here. So we have a bearing. This bearing is going to guide the piece that is already existing, cutting everything that is underneath it. So in this case, we are going to put that thing right in here, and then we are going to guide it through the existing piece that is glued underneath. For that, we need to set the correct depth. This is always a bit of a, trial and error. So about something like that, we're going to put the shop vac on here, but from experience, if you are going to cut wood and open voids like this, things will fly everywhere. This is only good if you are going to route anything that is going to be contained in itself like a slot. This is not a slot, so we are going to make an even bigger mess than we are already doing. Those are the downsides of woodworking. Stuff is getting everywhere. All right. Let's grab a battery for this tool and do a test cut. And just like that, we made a bigger hole. And like you can see, I have wood dust all over me. So while it helps a little bit on open cuts like this, it is not going to be a miracle product. Now, we have done the preparation up front, so we filled all the voids, and it is really hard to see that there was really a slot in here filling up the voids, and definitely over here it is almost impossible to see. So while the tool is definitely going to be dangerous, the results you can do, so this is the front side, this is the back side, so you can see the difference of that veneer. On the front we have the nice oak, and the back they are using a cheaper material. It is going to be some kind of a pine. So a router, really handy to open up holes like you can see right over here. It is going to be a little bit dangerous, so if you're going to do the same like me, not that I think you're going to rebuild this, then make sure that your digits are not in the way. This is basically the same for everything in woodworking. Now, while I was doing this, a new product arrives that I'm going to test out. Well, it's not new for me, but probably new for you. I received a product from Rubio Monocoat. Now, this is not sponsored. I just used it for another project. And I have to say that this is a 2-component based product. It's a one type of application finish. So you mix the 2 components together, you apply it, and you rub it off, and that's going to be it. It's going to fuse with the fibers of the wood. It's going to give you a nice and flat finish. You can get this in all sorts of colors. I picked one with the 5% white in it. This is going to enable this material to stay close to the natural color. Some people prefer to have the dark looking wood color. I don't. I like the way this natural wood looks, and this is going to enable me to do just that. In the package, we found something. It looks like chocolate. Yeah! This is the Oil Plus 2C component A with 5% white. And then we have a accelerator. You need to mix both these components. You have about 6 hours to apply this coating before it is too late. So you have a nice long application window. And the cool thing about this product is that it is also considered food safe. So you can use it for your cutting blocks. In my case, I'm just going to finish this part because in my shop everything gets dirty, my hands are dirty. And if you apply this coating, everything is going to be way easier to clean off. While I'm waiting for the new crap I have applied, we have some work on the other side. Let me turn this around. Like you can see, we still have an overcut right over here, here and here. We are also going to cut this away with the same tool. All right, time to make some more noise. We cleaned up the complete shop. Now it's time to do something about the front trimmings. So I want to put something on here. We are going to use some of the leftovers to make it look like oak on the inside. And then we need some front shieldings, so that also looks pretty nice. And for that we also have edge band, so it looks like actual wood. This is what they call edge band. This is just a piece of veneer oak, and on the other side is a bit of glue. So we will need to apply this with a hot iron, the same kind of iron you do your clothing with. Never have used it before except for applying edge band. We don't really iron at home. We only iron our edge band. It would be best that there was also a chamfer right here when we do the facings, but I have noticed it was already hard enough on top. So we are going to do some other trickery to make it look like it is one single piece of wood. And for all 5 of you that are watching, you will know what really happened. For the rest, it doesn't really matter. It only needs to look nice and it needs to insulate. All right, enough rambling. Let's do some more woodworking. Right, this is what it should look like. We have the top plate, we have a little bit of play, which is good. We are going to fill that up later. And then we have the front face shield, and this should nicely align if we pull the wood together like that. So we will have to attach it like this with some wood glue, and then do the same thing we did with all the edges of this closet, and it's going to be some filler and some sanding. When it's cooling down, the glue is getting very soft, but because it is hard to push on it with your finger, it is handy to have a nice smooth block, so you can just rub the freshly applied glue, and while it's drying you can just push it with a little block so everything stays nice and flat. The only thing we will have to do right now is just trim the edges and then make it blend in a little bit by rounding it over with something hard, a nice piece of wood, just chamfering the edges manually. So the edge bands are on both sides. Now we need to trim them. For that, we are going to need some sharp tools like this chisel. We also have a cutting knife, and then we have this tool, which is specifically made for removing the sides of edge banding. So this is a tool from Stanley. We have knives on both sides of this tool, and then we are going to zip it past the border of the wood, and it is going to cut the excess edges. And for the places we cannot reach with this tool, we will need a chisel and a knife. And that will give us those strips. This is the remaining excess that we can remove now. So this is the corner. You can barely see we have put on an edge band. I'm really happy with this. We did some rough shooting. Now we are going to trim everything down, and everything that we have plastered with the filler is going to get a quick sand. And after that, it's almost time to refit the Ratrig for the first official time. This is what the border looks like. I'm pretty happy with the result. We had to cover up some more holes. We put some veneer over here, so yeah, we pasted that. Also this side we need to do some cleanup, but this closet is more and more looking like a super nice piece of solid oak wood. Also right here we did some blending with some filler. Here the sides also looking super nice. After that has dried and we have sanded it smooth, we are going to give it one more big sand with a fresh piece of paper. Then we have to clean everything up, and then we are going to apply the wood stain, 2-component wood stain, to give that semi-gloss finish. We also bought some other things to put on the sides of this case. As you can hear, this is very noisy when we tap on it. I have bought some insulating pads to go on the inside to help with first heat retention and also to reduce a lot of the vibrating noises you can hear, because while wood is a great insulator, it's not very good on keeping out noises. We have done some printing. This is going to be for the frame. We are going to put it right over here. Then we have some polycarbonate that is going to mount on that plate using the magnets that were delivered with the V-core 4. So we're going to repurpose the magnets, and I have made something so I can pull out the polycarbonate sheet. I made it in a few pieces like this on the GD+4, and this all has been printed with 3D Jake PCTG. Only thing I have to do is clean these up, mount them on the sidewall using some wood screws, put in the magnets, and then try it out. I have cleaned and dusted the complete closet. Now it's time to apply the Rubio Monocoat All Plus 2C. So it's a 2-component, like we already mentioned. We have to rub it in. For that I have a special pad. After that we need to clean the excess all off, and then we have to wait for 24 hours for this coating to completely harden to a touch dry state, and it will continue to harden for the next 5 to 7 days. So after this we are done with woodworking or being in this shop, and you will see that the color is probably going to change a little bit. It is probably also getting a little bit darker than it is right now. That's the varnish. I have to say that now applying the varnish, the effect or the blending, like I call it, is really, really nice. It is really hard to spot anything that that looks like it is going to be some multiply that we cut at an angle and just put it together. It really, really looks like it's now a solid piece of wood. So, like I told you, it didn't look great in the beginning, but everything that you can do afterwards is really going to help finish up this beautiful piece of wood. Now unfortunately we have to wait for 24 hours before we can do anything, because we want to do some paneling on the inside. We also want to do some paneling on the top and at the back side, just to keep the that sound away from the printer, because every vibration the printer is going to have, even with the silicone or rubber feet underneath, this will vibrate and echo, and we don't want that. For that we have something else. All right, the finish had a little bit of time to dry out. As you can see right here in my hand, I have a piece of foam. This piece of foam is for the weather stripping that we are going to do, because we want to install a piece of plexiglass and we want to seal it off using the foam delivered with the Ratrig. The Ratrig that you could buy if you would buy the paneling, you will have some weather strips, so when you put on the panels that it is mostly airtight, which is what I want with my enclosure. So I went ahead and everywhere where the plexiglass is going to touch, we have installed this piece of foam. Another cool thing is going to be these blocks right over here. These are also from the Ratrig. I have installed these magnets. I also printed an extra second one, and this is going to be the super cool part about open source 3D printers, is that when you need extra parts, you can just download the step files and print another one. Because I came out one short, if I want to magnetize all these things I have installed in my own design. So right now it is going to be a little bit of a search. So this magnet is in the right place. We are going to install all the magnets, and then I'm going to take this polycarbonate panel, and then I have to draw all the holes you can see right over here to put in a bolt and nut. Those were the last holes. Now we are going to drill some more. This is going to be for the handlebar and the plastic printed piece that is going to sit something like this. This is basically everything you would do with the Ratrig. The only thing is the plate is going to be bigger, and it's not going to be mounted on the Ratrig itself, but on the enclosure. So we are reusing a lot of the kit, which is very handy. All right, let's take some measurements and install the handlebars. Okay, so this is going to be a big moment. I already figured out, after dropping the damn sheet on my foot, ouch, is that the plating has a little bit of a warp inwards. So we had to do a little bit of manipulation on the plate. I did some sanding, I did some extra overcutting, but the most important thing is that we still seal on this foam side, and on the underside we will deal with that later. All right. Let's see if everything magnetizes. Oh yeah, baby! Then, the final reveal. There we have it, brothers and sisters. I have left the magnets loose for now. because I want to make them snap on the places before I tighten these bolts, which is what I'm going to do right now. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I have been a little bit on a downer doing this project. Just general things not going like I wanted to be, some weird wonky things, then dropping the freaking thing on my foot. So yeah, this has been a very eventful day, I would say, but it looks like we still have it. We still have the talent to hide all our mistakes, and I consider myself super happy right now. We have our nice handlebars right over here, and yeah, the only thing we need to do is make some kind of a weather seal on the bottom part of the enclosure. We don't want too much air escaping from this chamber. It is going to take quite a lot of heat to get this thing at 60 degrees Celsius, which is what I am targeting. Not sure with the 400 watt heater if that is going to be possible. It's probably not going to be easy. I hope the heated bed is going to help me out on that regard. So yeah, I guess we will see. I would say anything over 50 degrees Celsius is already going to be a big win on this chamber. All right, I'm tightening the last bolt. So this is really nice. We have two handlebars. We can just pull it away and it snaps on it. I freaking love it. I also can see the weather sealing. It seems to be touching on most places, but we have the other issue right over here. We have a gaping spot. Now I have been debating on what to do with the bottom lip, because right now we have about a 4 to 5 millimeter gap. I don't want to do a print like I did right here, because removing the Ratrig with a plastic lip is going to be very difficult. That bastard is very heavy, so I just want to be able to slide it out. I am strong enough to just pull it out and put it on the table behind me. It is height adjustable. But if I use some kind of lip, that is going to be very hard. So I'm probably going to use foam and going to put foam on the underside of this paneling to fill up any gaps that I might have. I have enough of this foam that also was delivered on the Ratrig. So yeah, let's remove the paneling back again, install the weather strip. And after that, we can finally do the interior, and the interior is going to be with the following felt panels. So these felt panels are going to be on the complete inside of the printer. I have some laying around from the backdrop. That is going to be the set. You can see a little bit right over there. So I still have some set panels. Now I don't think combining blue with black is going to be very nice. The Ratrig has green accents. If you're going to use any blue, that would be unfortunate. I think maybe I can put it on the top side of the printer and make it a blue sky, something like that. So yeah, not sure what I'm going to do with that, but we are going to use these panels to keep some of the rattling at bay, and also to try insulate a little bit more, because believe it or not, this wood, even we have over 1 centimeter of wood, this wood is also going to heat up only way slower. So I want to give it an extra barrier with these felt pads. You know what they say, it's not about the outside, it's the inside that counts. Well, here we can see some of the crookedness. Then I still think it's fine. I am a shit carpenter, so this is what you're going to get. All jokes aside, I think we have reached the conclusion that the outside is finished. It is still removable, like this. And if you want to get it in, you will have to give it a push. And I like that. The whole thing is sealed up pretty good. We have a massive hole in the back. Like we said, this is for the enclosure. Now this is done. Finally, we can do the inside, which is going to be way more zen. I hope. All right, let's remove the plastic paneling and try to not hit my foot again. Now for the inside, there is no real game plan. We are going to plaster the left and right side. These are all square tiles, so these are going to be way more handy to cut out than the ones we have used for the set. That was a nightmare and took me days to do just that one corner. To avoid that, we now have square ones. They were pretty affordable. I think we are at a total of 70 euros for the paneling. We have 3 of these packages. I hope it's going to be enough. I still have the ones from my backdrop that we can reuse. All right, enough rambling. Let's do the inside. all 5 of you that are still watching, this is the final piece that needs to get in that corner. And I can already tell you, when I'm right over here, the sound is already completely different, right? All right, so the next thing we are going to do after finishing this piece is make this hole fit the existing hole. We need to do a little extra cutting, but first, the final piece. All right, that's the last piece. We made a huge mess. Now it's time to trim the hole. And for that, I need to find my freaking razor. All right, here it is. All right, final trimming. What I want to do is fill this up, because right now we can see it is a multiply. We can see the interlaying layers, and I'm going to use the same sealing foam we used on the doors. I'm going to put it here to make it nice and black, so we don't see it is fake wood. To give you an idea on what I mean, this is the exposed wood, and now with the strip, it's all gone. So the strip is in. We now don't see any more exposed or bare wood. Time to put in the Ratrig. Here we have it. This is the back of the Ratrig, and the most important thing, we want to put in this cable. It is a little bit snug, but it fits. So yes, the meaning of this is that we can pull it out and still it pulls in fresh air, and it will vent it out on the side and not in the chamber. Now there is a little bit of a gap, so maybe I'm going to push in some more sealing, but now the other side. There we have it. It is probably going to be very hard to see it, but there we have the Ratrig sitting in its new home. Now to finish everything off, I'm going to put on the paneling so we can close off this video. We are going to do some things in the future. We want to do some lighting in here, obvious. I'm also working on my own heater. This is a 400 watt heater that is going to live inside the chamber to heat everything up, so we have the capabilities to print nylons and ABSs and all of that. So if you're interested in that, then make sure to subscribe to the channel. I want to thank my members for following all along, supporting the things that we are doing, like this crazy crap. And guys, if you're interested, I see you in the next one. Now, let's finish off with the front paneling. And there we have it. It works. Guys, thank you for watching, and I see you in the next one.